Hey folks, this is immigration attorney Hassan Abdullah from the American Visa Law Group in the San Francisco Bay Area. In this video, I'm going to give you 7 suggestions, tips to select an immigration law firm. We have this article on our website. I'm looking at it right now, and I'm just going to go off the cuff looking at these 7 things just to explain my own personal take on it beyond what might just be written in this article. So how do you begin? How do you choose an immigration lawyer? First thing is you check the reviews. And if someone were to ask me, why do you check the reviews? Because the thing is, reviews, of course, look, there's different review sources. There's Yelp, there's Avvo, which is an attorney review site. There's Google reviews. But I would highly recommend looking first at the Yelp reviews. Why? Because Yelp is the hardest platform to game. You have people who, if they leave a review, if you ask your friends to leave a review, etc., and they don't have a Yelp account, they're not actively using it, or their profile is not properly detailed and filled out, the review gets filtered. So Yelp has filters that ensure, well, at least do the best possible to ensure that the reviews are of quality and that they're not biased or solicited. Of course, attorneys will still solicit reviews, so not to say that none of the reviews on Yelp are solicited by the attorney, but the main point is it's a good source because they do have a filtration system that other review sites don't have. Another thing that you need to look at while you look at reviews is the quality of the reviews. It's not just the quantity. A lot of people can just get a whole bunch of reviews. You see sites with hundreds of reviews on Google, for example. You can even pay for reviews and things like that. So you have to look carefully at the reviews. Are the reviews just saying it's the best lawyer around? Or is the review actually giving you some objective, specific information? So obviously look very carefully at what the reviews are saying. If the reviews are talking about a particularly complex type of case, like an EB-1 or a national interest waiver or something like that, and you see a few of these types of reviews that make up the entire body of reviews, that's a good sign. Another thing is amount of experience. So, one thing is about the amount of experience. If someone has 10 years of experience, I would say that's pretty much good enough to, look, there's a diminishing returns, right? So if someone has 20 years of experience versus 10 years of experience, there might not be such a big difference, right? Once you reach a certain level of proficiency, there's like marginal utility of getting more experience. But you do want to have someone who has at least enough experience so that you're not their guinea pig. And also the type of experience. So that's the other thing. There are all kinds of different subspecialties in immigration that you might not be aware of. There's crimmigration, where you understand the intersection of criminal law and criminal immigration consequences for crimes. There's also appeals cases. There's employment-based, family-based. There's a whole plethora of different types of immigration. So you want to make sure when you contact the attorney, you clearly tell them what type of immigration services you're looking for. And if it's specialized, you really need to know if that attorney has some experience with your particular specialized type of case. Fees. Another thing you need to look at is fees. Now, some people will try to find the absolute lowest cost possible, and they use that as a bargaining chip. They might go to one website and say, okay, this firm is offering the lowest rates, but there's some questionable things, so I'm not sure I want to hire this firm. But there's another target firm that I like. I like their reviews. I like their reputation. I heard good things. So, I'm going to push to try to get that lower fee at that other firm. You're not going to really get too far by doing that. You can try, but it might get the fee a little bit lowered, maybe not. But the point is, often fees are pretty firm, and just going off fees is not really the best approach. Now, you also don't want to get ripped off, and there are firms that charge an arm and a leg for some basic things, relatively speaking. So it is very important to do your research. Look at the fees. If a firm is going crazy, just charging absolutely outrageous fees for things, then you might want to question their ethics as well. If they're charging too low, you might want to question the level of desperation. And the thing is, if you're good at what you do and you have a good reputation, you're not going to charge extraordinarily low fees either. You're going to find that you'll be looking to charge at least what's typical in the industry, maybe a little bit more if you really developed a good reputation. Language and culture, that's another one. So yes, it's beneficial if your attorney can speak the same language as you and has a similar cultural background. They can understand, particularly in cases like asylum or VAWA. But even in those cases, it's not necessarily an absolutely necessary thing to have. It's just a plus point. If you have all things equal, two choices to make, you might want to hire an attorney who can understand the cultural aspects that you may have because there's a shared cultural background. But don't make that your essential factor to choose, and don't discount other attorneys just because they don't have the same culture or background. Because as an immigration attorney, we do deal with people from all cultures and backgrounds. So chances are, if the attorney has a really reasonably good amount of experience, they already understand some of the cultural idiosyncrasies of your background, and has the sensitivity developed based on experience. Another thing that's often overlooked, however, is firm morale. So, the thing is, if you have a firm that has a high turnover rate, for example, meaning people come and go, or if you have a firm where people don't feel like they're respected in their job, there's a way to actually find that out. You're not always going to find this information, but Glassdoor allows people to review their employer. And so you can tell if some of these reviews are solicited or not just by reading them. But I highly recommend looking at Glassdoor reviews just to see what the employees think at the firm. Because if they're not happy, if there's a toxic environment at the firm and people are complaining, you can imagine that could spill over into how you'll be treated as a client as well. Finally, firm structure. So you can look, is it a solo practice with one attorney? Is it a small firm with a few attorneys? Or is it a larger firm with dozens of attorneys? Is it a really large firm with 100+ attorneys? I would say that the sweet spot, if you're looking for a good law firm, is somewhere where they have a team of attorneys, but it's not a large team. Of course, that sounds a bit self-serving because American Visa Law Group is a firm which is kind of a smaller boutique firm. But here's the thing. When you have less attorneys, you have usually a more agile, adaptable practice, and you're going to get the customized service that you would expect, while also not feeling like you're their only client. Because if that's the case, attorneys bounce ideas off each other. Even, I have the most experience of any attorney at my firm. Obviously, I'm the founder of the firm. But there are, types of cases that certain other attorneys at the firm work on more consistently currently. And, sometimes I will have to also consult with my colleagues at the firm. So having a team of attorneys where, it's not one approach is the only approach you'll take. Because you have other attorneys working at the firm, you can work out and problem solve better when you have a team of attorneys. So that's why hiring a firm that looks like it's tightly knit and reasonably small, but not so small that it's just one attorney, and not so big that it's like dozens of attorneys and they're trying to just churn out as many cases as possible. That's the sweet spot. You're looking for something where there's just a few attorneys, I would say anywhere between a few to maybe 15 attorneys, that range. Then you're looking at a firm that's more specialized and able to focus on your case, giving you personalized attention, and also being able to have this collaborative benefit that you get from multiple attorneys at the firm. Those are my suggestions. Thanks for watching. I hope this has been helpful, and we'll see you in the next video.